So previously on Warcraft Stories, I was telling you about my paladin named Tank. And if you've ever played a paladin, you know the leveling up is pretty slow because you have really no good damage abilities. You're just like basically auto-attacking the whole time, but you have buffs and you can heal yourself. And you get like a seal of command, which is pretty good for using two-handed weapons later on. But so by this point, I was getting pretty powerful. I was already level 60. It's just a matter of getting good gear. I'd gotten to a guild called Deserters. I think I was in a few other guilds, but Deserters is my main guild that I did all my fun stuff with. Like, I had this crappy gear to start out with, I told you about. And he looks like Hulk Hogan. So, like, I was always going around Ironforge naked, like, flexing at people and going, Hulkamania rules or something like that. You know, there's a guy actually on our server named Hulk Hogan, I think, and I would always go up to him and flex to see what he would do. Because you have slash flex and you do this thing if you're a dwarf. It looks really cool if you look like Hulk Hogan. So, yeah, I was getting pretty powerful. And, oh, by the way, if you've ever played a paladin, you probably know about the white soul helm. It's one of the first good helms that you can get to wear on your head that blacksmiths make. It's like white with like some red trim. It's really good if you want to act like a wrestler and go around Ironforge because it looks like one of those Mexican wrestlers, the mask that they wear, you know. So if you go around there jumping around and flexing, it's pretty cool. So we had all kind of crazy antics that we got into in this Deserters Guild. But as I said, I was getting pretty powerful. And like, for example, here's where I dispatched this giant demon named Lord Ezra with ease. Of course, he's only like level 40 elite, but you know, I soloed his ass pretty well. This is like when I had my epic weapon. I think I really just took that screenshot because of the way he died. He landed with his feet stuck up in the air for some reason. I just thought it looked funny. So now this picture is when okay, I'm an Alliance character, right? But if you can tell where I am at, I am in the Undercity, which is the enemy homeland, like one of their main cities, right? And it's pretty near impossible to get into one of these cities without getting murdered and just raped, which is what we call murdered in Warcraft. As you can see, this guy over here, he's one of the enemy combatants. He's one of the opposite faction guys that you're supposed to attack whenever you see them, right? But I was hanging out in, what's that flight path over in Western Plaguelands for the Alliance? That little place where they have the quest guys, anyway. There was a Tauren druid named Wrath. He was always really cool. Like, he would hang out with you. There are some guys that wouldn't just automatically kill you or try to kill you when you saw them. And they call these guys Care Bears, which is like one of the dumbest words if you want to insult somebody, call them a Care Bear. So I got called a Care Bear a lot because I always like to just fool around with people. I'm like, hey, what you doing? I'm not like just trying to kill everybody. So me and this Wrath guy, one of my enemies supposedly, we're just riding around together, and like he would stop and kill one of my friends, and I would just laugh because he kicked somebody's ass. Then we'd ride along, and we ended up going to Undercity. Like, you can't communicate with the opposite faction if you've never played, but you can wave, and you can say hello, sort of. You can just kind of signal to each other. And we went to the Undercity. There's a secret entrance that you go into the sewers, and I had to kill some of these big high-level monsters to get in there, but he just kind of sat and watched me go through them all. Then I had I'm an engineer, so I had this parachute cloak, and I glided down onto one of these upper rafters that you can't really see too well in this picture, but I got up on top here, and the guards weren't in range to attack me, so then I came down and ran into this guy, and he was pretty friendly too. He just kind of sat next to me, and that was pretty cool. I got into the enemy city, and here you can see this. Let me move the screen. I snuck into the main enemy faction leader for the Undercity. This is Lord Varamathras, the Hell Demon, or whatever you call him, one of those huge demon lords. And here's the Banshee, assistant to Lady Sylvanas Windrunner, the main badass that hardly anybody has ever killed on any server in the game. She's like one of the hardest things in the world to kill. And if you could tell where I'm standing, I'm just like barely out of range of them so they don't attack me because they're level 62 elites or something like that. I'd already been in there once, I think, and died, and I came and resurrected myself here just out of reach. And that's how cool I was. I just kind of hung out with the enemy stuff. And here is where the guards got on my ass. I finally ran out of there, and this is the Royal Dread Guards all piling onto me. And this, what I'm doing here, is called the shield hearth technique, which all paladins know about. It's very useful to get out of nasty situations. Paladins, you see, have this pact with God, like he protects them in certain situations. Every 5-10 minutes, I think, I get a shield that lasts for like 10-12 seconds. And there's nothing in the world that can hurt me. I can jump off of like a 1,000-foot cliff and use it and drop and land and I'll be fine. Or like in this case, these guys would have killed me in like 2 seconds. One of them would have, but I had this shield on. Then you have your Hearthstone, which casts you like through this teleporter back to your homeland, the last inn that you saved your game at, right? So that's really a handy technique for a paladin. People hate it when you're like fighting them and you're dueling somebody and they just use this shield hearth to get away from you. And there's a really funny picture on the internet of a guy that's like dueling right outside of his own city, and he shield hearths like 10 feet away, right back to his own home. So that's like a running joke with Warcraft paladins, the shield hearth technique. Okay, now this picture is of, this is what my main screen looked like. This is my user interface. And a lot of people use different mods with different kind of effects and different looks to how they arrange all their icons and stuff. And this is how I had it. I have like this 3D modeling program where you see all your enemies like move around and 3D windows appear. Like this is me, my helmet, like my head. And here I am in my full Lawbringer gear on my horse with my halberd of smiting. Got your buffs over here. Your enemy target shows up over here. This is like their health and mana and all this. You probably know what all this is, but like I have my chat over here. Then I have my spells down here. And if you notice right here, this is my divine shield that I was just telling you about that gives me the immunity. And this is my Hearthstone, which lets me teleport. You keep those two right next to each other because you have to hit it immediately after you pop that shield if you want to get it teleported in time before it runs out. So that's always handy. And here I have like 2 different levels of a Holy Light healing spell, Flash Heal, Seal of Command, Attack. There's my Judgments, my Hammer of Justice, which is really annoying if you're not a paladin. It stuns you for like 6 seconds. Everybody hates it. So I use it constantly. Consecration, a narrative effect, holy damage spell, which is really good. Here's my little stone skin racial talent that makes me turn to stone. Gets rid of all poisons immediately. I can cleanse poisons, but I don't really have to because I can turn into stone sometimes. And I was like an expert cook and a fisherman. All these skills. First aid, you get those like automatically. Here's my buffs, like 5-minute buffs, 15-minute buffs, whatever. And I had like a big icon for my mount so you can get on your horse really easily. So I put that over here. Here's my menu buttons, my auras, like my defense, casting time, fire resistance, ice resistance. All those are really handy. And next I wanted to show you some tricks you can do with this right here. This is called your Divine Intervention. What this does is you sacrifice yourself. If you use this skill, you will die. But whoever you use it on will be immune from anything. Nothing can hurt them for like 2 minutes or something, like a really long time. But what I used it for is you can kill yourself inside your own town. Even if there's no enemies around to kill you, you can kill yourself, which kind of freaks people out because they don't know what the hell just happened. They're like, what the hell killed that guy? He just died. So I'm going to show you a few tricks that you can do with that.